What do we mean when we say the term neoplasia or cancer? Neoplasia refers to the abnormal and uncontrolled proliferation of the cells that persists even after the removal of the inciting stimulus. So what does that mean? He says that it is an abnormal and uncontrolled proliferation of these cells. So the cells are abnormal and they are proliferating in an uncontrollable fashion even after withdrawal of the stimulus which is making them to proliferate. It can be any stimulus, maybe a growth factor, maybe any hormone or any other chemical which usually stimulates a cell to grow. So even after removing the triggering stimulus, the cell is growing abnormally and uncontrollably, and that thing is called as neoplasm or a tumor, and it has two types. One is benign, the other one is malignant. Benign is localized and non-invasive, and malignant is the dangerous one, invasive and metastatic. So this does not spread anywhere, but rather it stays in its local point of its origin, and this one originates from one point and then rapidly spreads to all over the parts of the body, hence the term metastatic. Let's jump in and look at the characteristics of the malignant neoplasm. So we have certain characteristics like we have the anaplasia, rapid growth, invasion, metastasis, loss of contact inhibition, genomic instability, angiogenesis, resistance to apoptosis. Let's go in detail of all these characteristics and understand how does all these statements make sense in terms of cancer. So the first term we have is anaplasia, and as it says, the lack of differentiation, cells appear primitive and atypical. Features include pleomorphism, hyperchromatic nuclei, and abnormal mitosis. Okay, let's understand this. Let's suppose this is a healthy cell which is newly formed, and this cell will undergo certain changes in its lifetime, like growing into an adult. So this little guy is getting matured, or which in medical terms we call it as differentiation or maturation. So this little guy is getting matured someday as it is growing, and just like the process continues, the same cell grows into an old cell and eventually it has to die, and it dies. That is natural, which is also normal and healthy. But what if this cell, this newly formed cell, refuses to mature and form an adult cell? So what if for any reason this little cell refuses to mature into adult cell? That means it doesn't want to get differentiated into mature cells, and if it does not mature into an adult cell, it also will not grow into an old cell as well. So what is wrong in this? What will happen if this cell does not grow into a mature differentiated cell and does not die? What will happen? Well, many things will happen. The first thing is, as this small cell is not getting differentiated into a mature cell which is remaining an undifferentiated cell, this has the capability to divide enormous, and it divides. It does not stay like that. It has the power of division, and it does not just stay quite like that, because this cell is newly formed and is not differentiating, is not maturing. That means it doesn't know its place in its universe. Just like how a human child behaves, even this cell behaves in similar way, as it is not matured enough to understand what is right and what is wrong. And just like how the child makes too much noise and disturbs everyone in the home, similarly even the cancer cells makes too much noise in the body and they tend to create problem in the entire human body.